Hi everyone. This is our Antioch Homeless Coalition meeting. Today's date is February 16th, 2022. Oh my gosh, this year already, like it's like month and a half already into the year. It's going by so fast, but welcome. And just gonna go ahead and start with some introductions. I am Nicole Gardner with Facing Homelessness. We have Lacey or actually Lacey's gonna be hopping on shortly, but we have Mariah with This Act of Art, and we have a special guest. Frank, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm here. This is Frank Sterling, and I'm just here to participate as someone that has been experiencing our unhoused relatives in our business area around my building. And many of you might also know me for working at KPFA and reporting on community issues and events like our unhoused friends and family. And the camps, when they get swept, I've been to a few of those and reported on those. And other stuff I report on around the city is police violence and government. So yeah, I'm just here to participate and share what I can about the experiences that we have had at our building with our unhoused family members and some of the negative stuff that comes along with that, as well as the positive. So when you're ready for me, let me know. I'm here.
Thank you, Frank. And thank you. Frank has just been all around the city. He's in every city council meeting speaking up. When I first became an advocate, homeless advocate some years back, I think he did like my first few interviews and has just been great to the community, getting the information out there to the public, working with the youth advocates, with the Black Lives Matter movement, involved with city council, just really involved with the city. So we appreciate you, Frank. Thank you for all that you do. And thank you for joining us today, or this evening, I should say. We are going to jump into introducing our Antioch Homeless Coalition Youth Liaison. You want to introduce yourself?
Okay, hello everyone. I am Bogan and I will be the liaison for the youth. I am a sophomore at Freedom High School and I am involved in different activities on campus, and I'm glad to add this organization to my list. I do agree with getting the youth involved because it does give us a chance to be more engaged in our community and for us to have an open mind to our surroundings. And with me being in the leadership program at Freedom, I do believe in doing a little act of kindness does make a big impact for everyone. So I'm excited to work with all of you and I'm glad to be here and thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of our team now. So you win. I know we have been talking as a coalition about getting the youth more involved. Mariah, I know we've had, and Lacey, we've all had discussions about this. And what we kind of want this segment to look like is, in the beginning of our meetings, just have, Bree, you, and any other youth that want to be more involved with, homelessness, just kind of give us some ideas, So I think what we're looking for with this segment is just to, have you guys go do a little bit of research and then come back to the coalition and the community in these meetings and let us know what other cities are doing in other areas, other states that Antioch could be doing, or, even oh God, I can't even think right now. Pittsburgh, its surrounding cities are doing or can do. So I think it would be great, one, to just let the youth kind of see a little bit of the work that we do and just to get involved. So thank you so much. Mariah, you want to introduce yourself to Bree or say a few words to Bree?
Yeah, it's so nice to meet you. Well, Franklin, hello. Good to hear from you again. Always nice to talk with you. And Bree, I'm so excited that you're so young and you care about big issues. That's really wonderful. And I'm really happy to get to know you and hear what you have to say and what you can contribute. And thank you for taking your time and we're being here tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. Well, thanks again, Bree. We will see you at our next Antioch Homeless Coalition meeting, and we look forward to hearing any information and that you have for us, and any of your thoughts that you have for what the city of Antioch and surrounding cities can do to kind of we have to be better. And I know we've talked about that. And so I'm just, super excited to have you here and have you join us. But so we will see you at our next meeting.
Thank you.
Bye.
That's so awesome.
Isn't that great? I was just so excited to have the youth want to get involved. So it's been great, and I think she'll be a great liaison. And I think she is, I believe, 16. So I think she'd be really good for kids that may be a little bit younger or a little bit older too. And some of the things that she does and her leadership roles at school, I think she'd be great for this. So yeah. All right, so let's just move. We're gonna move on to Mariah. Do you have the city and county updates?
Yep. Okay. All right. On Tuesday, January 11th, at the City Council meeting, the council dissolved the Transitional Housing Ad Hoc Committee. Mayor Thorpe and Councilmember Barbanica. Sorry, guys. I'm getting my eyes checked next month for classes, so hopefully. Barbanica chose to not have a housing and homelessness commission, but to include housing and homelessness issue in the commission that Councilmember Torres Walker wanted to have for human rights. Councilmember Torres Walker and Councilmember Orgachuk recommended having a housing and homelessness commission and a separate human rights commission. Mayor Thorpe will bring back this topic for discussion as a future agenda item. Community members have been showing up to city council meetings to express their concerns about getting fined for parking their RVs in their driveways. Mayor Thorpe made it a point to say that he would address the concerns and add an agenda item to the next city council meeting to discuss the issue, while at the same time doing absolutely nothing for the countless homeless individuals and families who live in their RVs and are getting towed daily. Any discussion on that?
About the RVs?
Yes.
Yeah, about the fact that the meeting's coming up, but every day the impound fees add up, and people are losing like everything they have and are probably never going to be able to get their RVs back.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with what what the laws are. I'm sure you guys are more familiar with what the laws are about them towing the RVs and what they're doing with them or destroying them and never giving them back. I'm sure in many cases. As far as what I heard at the city council meeting and people getting upset that they can't park their RVs or their boats in their yard. Maybe there's a way to tie it, to the homeless community or what they could do with their RVs. Because like I said at the last meeting, I actually got a boat recently and I have to store it somewhere where I have to pay monthly to store it. I might be able to squeeze it in my driveway, maybe, maybe not. But, I'm not sure what the laws are still about storing them at your house or on the street. So yeah, I'd be eager to see, if we could pressure the mayor and those guys to, act so swiftly on, the people that are losing their belongings.
Right.
Is that the problem here? The delay? They're not acting on this other issue with people that are living in their cars and RVs?
Yeah, Frank, I agree. I heard you speak at the last city council meeting. So I think for me, what was so frustrating, I mean, I understand that you know, people have these concerns, and I get it. I get it. You know, the fines could be ridiculous, whatever. So when they come to the city council meeting and express their concerns, they're very, you know, they're valid concerns. So I'm like, okay with that. I think my concern, it was that the mayor, how quickly he, as soon as, you know, community members, like the same meeting, which was not even last meeting, it was the meeting before, said that he would bring this back to put this on the agenda. And I'm just like, wow, that was quick. Like, we have to go through hell to get something on the agenda when it comes to, you know, addressing unhoused folks and their vehicles getting towed, being told this is where they live. Now, I understand that people, you know, care about their boats and things like that, RVs that's parked in front of their driveway. But at the same time, this is where folks live. And for him to, you know, not really address that as far as, you know, how can we lower some of the fees for when these vehicles get towed away, or safe parking, once again, that should be able to come into place, and why we need, you know, why these folks that are in these RVs, that they're, of course they're older, they don't have the money to have the new RVs and stuff that these people at these city council meetings were talking about. So I think it was just really frustrating for me, just how fast he wanted to bring it back and discuss it, when they're and I just felt as though, you know, he was thinking about the community without thinking about the unhoused community, and hopefully, I'm hoping, but this is just from what I got, that's from what I got from what he said, but I'm hoping that they do take into consideration, if they consider the fees and things like that for other folks, they should definitely consider the fees, and trying to help folks that are on the streets that are getting their vehicles towed. So that's what I felt about that. And just really quickly about the commission, I definitely agreed with Councilmember Torres Walker and Councilmember Ogertrup and Lori. I can never say her name. I definitely think that we need to have two separate commissions to make sure, if there are way too many issues in one commission, I'm just afraid that, you know, some of these issues that are all very important issues will not be taken care of and can fall through the cracks. So hopefully, you know, when he does come back, that they can take that into consideration, that they really need two commissions. Frank, your hand is up.
Yeah, just before I forget my thoughts, maybe we can do like a call-in campaign and mention this fact that you speak of about how quickly he took it up when it concerns people's recreational vehicles for their fun and enjoyment. But we got people, you know, this is their last refuge from the elements, and you're not moving swiftly enough. And maybe we could talk about and get him and the council to pass an ordinance or something that says, if you can prove that you were living in your car, truck, or RV or whatever when it got towed and impounded, that they should waive those fees. If you don't have an income and are living in your vehicle and it gets towed, you shouldn't have to pay a fee. And in fact, I know you've already talked about this because you've been on it so long now, about a safe parking place, or where's a good place that they could put their RVs. I don't think they ever came up with any sort of real solution. But yeah, maybe they need to reconsider that again. Nothing has really changed since the beginning of the pandemic, and we were out on Wilbur Avenue and they were kicking all those people out of Wilbur Avenue, and that lady was shouting that she had a letter from the governor that talked about keeping people in their encampments. I mean, they've basically been doing what they want to do, just like they always do, not following any of the ordinances set down by the state, like leaving encampments in their place, not breaking them up. They always turn to the biohazard thing. So I'm kind of losing my train of thought. Oh yeah, so I think we should have a campaign. Maybe if you can get some of your followers and folks to call in and get it on the agenda, tell them to get it on the agenda, and then come up with some ideas about, hey, if you're living in your car and it gets towed, you should not be subjected to paying the fine. You should be able to just go get it. Go get it. and then tell them a place where to park them, man. We just need to do the encampment again idea at City Hall. I don't know if we ever really did that or not, but pull those suckers up in the parking lot, you know. Let's do the tent city. You know, back in the day, what president was it? There was a camp out of homeless people. They were mostly, I think they were World War II veterans or something. And they recall it was Hoover. It was during the presidency of Hoover. So if you can take any notes, go back and look up homelessness and Hoovervilles. Basically, veterans and homeless people all across the country started setting up encampments and calling them Hoovervilles because in honor of the president, because they weren't doing enough to take care of the homeless people. Many of at that time were returning World War I or II veterans that were struggling. So we should set up something and call it, you know, like Thorpeville or something, and do it in the parking lot of the city council chambers, and just get people to park their RVs in there. And then when we did the protest at the city hall, we just bought a roll of caution tape and just taped up the city hall, and we didn't let no workers in. You could tape off, like, we were going to camp at the city hall, and we already kind of planned it out. So I already got some ideas. If you know your directions, the river being north, and then, you know, the hills being south, and then of course where the sun rises being east and where it sets being the west. And now if you can imagine looking at the parking lot of the city hall and think of the southwestern corner, basically the one closest to, it'd be the one on the side of the beer garden, but in the back corner away from the building. Anyways, you could block off that whole corner of the parking lot, and it would not affect the flow of traffic. People can come in through the 3-4 other entrances and exits. And so that's where we were going to camp.
Hold on, Frank. Don't be telling them our plans on here now. We got to
Well,
save
hey,
some stuff for the background.
well, we haven't said you're going to do this, but hey,
But great.
we can
but
talk offline to that.
I'm with you on that, though. I'm with you on that for sure.
Because I think labeling it like Thorpeville or anybody, it's going to have an effect on their reelection. And I know, like many other people, as Lacey put it, are jumping off the Thorpe bandwagon for a multitude of different reasons. You know, he's going to feel the pressure. It's been a long, hard battle for the unhoused folks in Antioch. I talked to Kenny like yesterday. He was all excited that he was living in the program. And of course, he was hanging out down at the Amtrak area, looking all fresh in his clean duds and probably fresh out of the shower at the hotel and stuff. So, and he told me about, he was, you know, pep talking people, trying to get them excited about, you know, being there, but also the pitfalls that it was kind of, you know, militaristic and you had all the rules to follow. Hey, that we all got the fucking rules to follow though, right? That's life. Anyways, I'm going to start trailing on to different thoughts here, but I think if you want to do something like a Thorpeville or something, I've wanted to do that for a long time. I'm always a direct action minded. So we could talk offline about that. But I think at some point, people just need to gather in one area like City Hall and just be like, where are we supposed to go anymore? You've bounced us from the railroad tracks to Wilbur, to all the dark corners over there off 6th Street, out of sight, out of mind. What solutions do we got while we wait for these programs? Where Kenny's at, where other people are going, where can we go that's safe and undisrupted until we're helped into, you know, a better situation? Hey, maybe it should be the parking lot over there. Maybe it should be City Hall. There's bathrooms there during the day. They could put a couple porta potties up for the night. The money they spend on cleanup, we already went through all this in your past meetings, I'm sure, but the money they spend on all these other things they do to kick them out, to clean up, to whatever, they could hire a security guard to open the City Hall at night and let them use the bathrooms. You know, that wouldn't cost as much. So I think it comes down to pressure on the mayor and city council, because you saw him jump a couple of weeks ago because he knows these people with RVs and boats and the extra amenities, they're going to be voting and they're going to be taking this into consideration. And he's already walking a thin line with all his police reform and speaking out that he's trying to do. So everybody else too, the city council, you know, my thoughts, of course, are pull them up in the lot, take over that corner, put up some caution tape, and start making some plans for an occupation of the corner parking lot, and start demanding that they do something in the meantime.
Right.
In the meantime, while they wait for the rooms at the Motel 6, while they wait for other services, you know?
Right. No, I totally agree with you on that. I am definitely for that form of protest, and definitely would love to hook up with you to work something out. I know the coalition right now, I think we've given the council up until I think April before we go about with a lawsuit against the city for just what we're discussing right now, the criminalization of homelessness when it comes to taking people's RVs and things like that. So that's definitely coming up, and that's definitely something that I think I would like to discuss with you. We can all meet up at your place and have a discussion, as a matter of fact. but yeah, so and again, I wanted to save this for our word on the street segment. But since you just mentioned it, when you said, you know, you talked to Kenny, and there are some issues, kind of jumping into the next one. Actually, can we'll just go into the word on the street part of the segment. Mariah, did you have anything else for discussion on the city and county updates?
No, I was thinking, man, I know this is right up Lacey's alley.
That's what I was thinking too.
I'm trying to think of things to say, and
where is she?
I'm kind of a good listener in this group more, you know, but I'm always down to be there and support and do what I can. I was just like, man, Lacey would have a lot of good stuff to add. And I was looking up laws while you were talking about
Here she go.
the RVs and everything. And the law still, you know, if it's where someone lives, they're not allowed to tow it. And I was also thinking, is there a way to even write a letter or reach out somehow higher up, you know, because, you know, it is, you know, Governor Newsom, it is under his law of California. And if there was a way to, I don't know, with the re-election, like you're saying, you know, reach out to other people about this issue, if that is a possibility, but we can discuss that later. That was kind of
right. And you know what too, Mariah, I think what it is, because even with just us, while we're on this topic, I kind of want to move on, but I just forgot about something. You know, the city has even made it hard for people that, because we talk about people having RVs at in their own parking lots. Well, we've had community members who have even said, I will allow some unhoused folks, you know, of course, they want to vet them, make sure they're cool, stay on my property. I have property, but it's against the city ordinance. Like I know people that have been fined for having people live on their property in these RVs, in their own RVs. Yeah. So like that's an issue too. Like, okay, why is it okay for, you know, these folks who said in the council meetings, like, oh, we have nice RVs, like they're not like the raggedy ones that are on the streets at the
and that's going to be the middle class voters who,
hey, that's what I'm saying. So like, why is that like, but that's what I'm saying, why is that not talked about too? Like there's a lot of things that come along with this situation, because we definitely need to make sure that, what about the folks that are saying, okay, well, it's my property, I should be able to have what I want on my property, why can't I have someone park their RV on my property and live in, while you guys have nowhere else for them to go?
Yeah, and you know, from experience, like staying in an RV, our fifth wheel. I know when I lived in one, I couldn't park it, in Antioch. And I was forced, luckily, I think better things came along, but it's has to be stored at someone's house like 5 hours away. And I can't even access if I wanted to donate it, which I've tried, but I haven't had any help getting it down. And then I can't even go camp. Like even if I want to keep it, I can't go camping in it. It's 5 hours away and I have no way to move it back or anything. And it's because it's not allowed to be stored anywhere here. And also if it's a safety issue, like the biohazard issue, there are ways to make sure that like the plumbing is being drained properly, living outside someone's house. And there's ways that, safety precautions, even without having electric, with propane, there's safety, people use propane all the time. So those things can be checked on. Even if you allow people to park them, there could be some kind of like regulation, like you have to have it checked on, make sure it's safe, no hazards, and then from there on it could be illegal.
Right.
But it could definitely be worked with.
Definitely.
Hey, Lacey.
I definitely agree. Lacey is driving, y'all. Okay, listen, I want you to look at the road though, okay? Okay, we are gonna jump right into our word on the street segment. We don't want to go too long. The word on the street segment. Oh, I broke my pen. Okay, so the Delta Landing County program at the old Motel 6 in Pittsburgh is up and running, and many of our friends that were at the Executive Inn are now in the program. It is an up to 120-day program that provides wraparound services, and they work with individuals and families to find more permanent housing. Next update is after many community donations and prayers, we were able to put our unhoused friend Kimberly from the downtown Amtrak area in a motel room for 26 days. She was there over the Christmas and New Year holiday. And with the assistance of CORE, we were finally able to get her into the program in Concord. And then she recently just moved into that Delta Landing program as well. So she's there with a lot of the other folks that were there, that went there from the Executive Inn downtown. So a lot of folks she knows. So I was happy about that. Next one is, oh wait, I think that's it. So yeah, just really quick, I just wanted to say, like what Frank was saying, I literally right before the meeting, I think about 30 minutes before the meeting, someone had messaged me and was like, are we still feeding folks that are we feeding folks that went into the Delta Landing program? Because they got word that, the people that were there, like, were hungry and were only eating, like, I think she said, they were only giving food on a Saturday or something. So I said, that don't sound right. So I said, let me call some folks. So I had called some folks right before this meeting, and come to find out, like, they literally are only getting one meal, which is a dinner. And it was like, I was told it was like 3 chicken nuggets and a handful of rice. And they were, they gave them water or whatever, but like, folks is hungry. I'm like, y'all was doing better eating when y'all was on the streets than y'all doing in this program, which is like so concerning to me, because like the county got all this money. Like, how do y'all not think that not everybody has food stamps, income, and things like that? So I definitely have to do some more digging and trying to find some more research and try to figure out what is going on over there. Another concern of mine at the program, where I don't really know what the wraparound services really include, like as far as the case management goes, because I was concerned about folks that may have some mental health issues or some substance abuse issues, and people coming down, off of whatever drug that they were on, what kind of help and what kind of assistance is the county providing them with? So that like some of those are like really big concerns. And so I just don't want people to go hungry. And my thing was just like, I was thinking with them being in this program, that's good. I'm glad y'all good. So now facing homelessness and other organizations to kind of focus and work on other groups of people that are in A Street, Summersville, Sycamore, different areas of folks that need food and need these resources that we provide for them, and focus on them because y'all all right over there. But it doesn't seem like that's fully the case. So again, I will be doing some more investigating when it comes to that, and definitely update you guys and let you guys know, you know, let the community know what's going on and try to help them as much as we can over there. Anybody else?
That's just shocking, you know, like you said, the one meal thing. So that's great that you're gonna figure it out or do some research, like you said, and maybe look into where the money is being broken down. That's my old cat.
It looks like Frank has his hand.
Hey, Lacey, what's up? Yeah, working at KPFA, we do on-air fundraisers like with the seasons. So we do one winter, summer, spring, and fall. And before the pandemic, even a little bit before the pandemic hit, we were transitioning. But we used to take all of our calls inside the station. Anybody that would call the 800 number or the other phone number would get routed to the station into a little room where we had our little workers that were volunteers answering phones from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. And they would come in shifts, different people. Okay, I'm kind of making a long story out of this, but the point of it is that we would supply a lunch and a dinner for 3 weeks through donations from local restaurants. Maybe if you speak to some of the well-known Pittsburgh restaurants, they might be able to do a 1 day a week dinner or burrito or something for up to 50 or 75 people. Or maybe the funds that are county or state or wherever the city is claiming to get the money from to fund these operations, maybe they can, you know, even pay the local establishments. I know the Mecca in Pittsburgh often donates like hundreds of their little burritos to different things that are happening, such as one, for example, is the free fishing derby day down at the fishing pier in Antioch. They came out with like these huge ice chests full of pre-rolled burritos, bean and cheese, chicken, and some other meat. And then they just ask you which one you want. They just give it to you. So
And not to add to that, I know when Marie Arce was running for council, they had, I live by the Mecca, they had her picture, and they I think they're like affiliated. So I'm just saying, like, maybe even if she'd want to participate, or you know that she's pretty close to them, I think.
yeah, and think if you get 10 restaurants to pick 1 day a week to donate a certain amount of meals, you know, or maybe not even donate. Maybe there would be, you know, a government program with all that money that we know is the county. As far as I understand it, there's monies out there. So either way, that would be details to work out at a later day. But I think my general idea is partnering with local establishments that would be willing to produce food, whether it was donated or not. And these establishments, if they don't get reimbursed by the city, may be able to get a city letter talking about how much money that year they donated in food to the program, and then they'd be able to work on their taxes, their tax end. So there, and then, you know, of course, the city would acknowledge these places with I don't know if they'd go to a proclamation, whatever the hell they would do. You know, they would announce at their city council meetings that these establishments have been agreed to do this, and all the hubbub that comes with getting recognized. So, hey, it's one thing to do. We provided meals 4 times a year for sometimes 3 weeks straight, twice a day. And there were some pretty damn good meals sometimes from different places. When we got pizza, burritos, homemade soups, vegan meals. And then of course we also bought, like snacks to have in our own fridge, but that's beside the point. I think my main point is clear here. Partnering with local establishments, getting a commitment to a certain amount donated a week, a month. I mean, there may be a varying things. Maybe somebody could do it once a month. Maybe someone will do it once a week. So, and I would even like, I'm blanking on our friend's name that just talked about Arce.
Who? Oh, Mariah?
Mariah, yes.
Marie ours. I know they did. They have a picture of her daughter on her in their wall. The Ars Foundation for childhood cancer, and then also I know that during her campaign they supported her and putting her picture out, and so I know she's really active in the community. So maybe she wouldn't mind reaching out. I
Well,
could
maybe
message
I'll
her.
reach out to her. We're pretty cool, so I'll
Yeah.
She could help you. She could help you break the ice, and I would say you could start with the Mecca because they already are known for doing this.
for doing
Yeah.
They would be down to make burritos. I can guarantee you almost at least once a month as minimum.
Yeah. I mean, and the owner of the Mecca was very into charity work. I know he passed away, but I think they're still trying to keep up that in his honor, what the restaurant stands for. Yeah.
Well, y'all listen, I don't really know how I feel about that. I mean, I am cool. I think partnering with local restaurants and establishments, I think that's great. I think, to me, I mean, I understand where you guys are coming from, but to me, it's like, this is a county program that should have had all this stuff situated and figured out before we had people go in there to only be fed one meal. So although I would help in any way that I can, really, it's the BACS program the BACS that are running this program. They should be doing this stuff. I will reach out and let them know that, these are some of the things that they could be doing. But I just think, I mean, there's so many folks on the streets. And like I said, I just think that they should have had all of this together before getting those folks in that program. And although these are all good ideas, these are ideas like I'm thinking about, like, oh, well, that would be great for folks that are really on the streets, that are living on the streets, and having local nonprofits kind of partnering with some of these establishments and feeding folks that are on the streets. The county got money to put these folks in there. So that's why that's the frustrating part for me. Like, even with the motel voucher program, like, we had to step in because the city just basically told them, oh, go to this motel voucher program, no food, no toilet, no nothing. And then advocates and nonprofits have to step in and go to the motel and feed them and do all that, which we love them. Of course, we don't mind doing. But I'm just saying, if you put somebody somewhere, make sure that they're taken care of. You can't just throw people somewhere and not have the services and wraparound services like you say that you have. Like, that's so, I have a problem with that. And so, like I said, I wrote down your ideas, Frank. I think these are great ideas. I definitely will try to reach out to Marie, and even, see about, just calling some different restaurants and see what I can do on my end. But it's annoying. It is annoying. Anyone else?
I understand your point. Like, these, like, not that you're against these ideas, but you're more so you want to see what the services that the county can provide that they promised already. So I get what you're
right, and really push them to do what they said that they would do, which is provide wraparound services for folks, which should include food, at least 3 meals a day. I mean, come on now.
But the idea of the restaurant, what's the word? Restaurant community feeding is great to keep in mind, if not for this, but for something else as well. That's really cool to think of all these restaurants willing to donate one meal, one meal a month, even if it's for something different. But yeah, I mean, how quickly do you think you could get for the county to change these things? Do you think it would take a couple months or?
I don't
like,
know, but
realistic-
I'm gonna be looking into this stuff like right away. Like the last thing I want is for my friends over there to be sitting up there hungry. You know what I mean? Like they get fed better. They get fed good better at the COC or with just community outreach and organizations that come out and feed them at Amtrak. So
And
I
the
mean,
rules there, they have to be home by 9, right? And they have,
I don't really know about, I don't know what time. I think one time I talked to Kenny and it might have been like 8 something, but I'm not exactly sure what time. But like Frank said, they have rules. And I told Kenny and them that too. Like, okay, they have rules. So you have to follow the rules, stick it out. And I told him, and we just had a deep conversation and encouraged him, like, please just keep encouraging folks over there. You are the OG over there, and he promised he would. And so
Yeah.
it seems like that's what he's doing, just talking to Frank.
and like Franklin's, you said, we all have rules. Like,
Yeah, you got
We-
rules.
I
bro.
have rules.
Yeah, we all have rules. So he was like, it's not that bad, but they don't have a TV, which I was like, dang, Thea, because Thea used to be in there and they had a TV. And when she was in there, when COVID first started, and they had a TV, and I was like, dang, that's kind of boring. But
Do they have like an area to hang out, like with the TV, like a lobby or hangout room?
I don't. I have to call.
Because I could donate. My sister's getting rid of her old TV, and I could donate a
That's what I was
TV.
thinking. Like, can we just get a bunch of TVs and stuff? And stuff?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Franklin. Go ahead.
Sorry, Frank. I see your hand.
It's all right. It's all right. I just raised my hand. I was waiting. Yes, a TV drive. I just gave one away because my friend needed one that she wanted to buy off me. It was kind of small. We were using it for a backyard Super Bowl party. I think a lot of people would donate a small TV. And my other idea is slipping away from me, but it was shit. I'm blanking on what it was. The TV drive and
Was it food related?
might have been food related. I'll have to
I'll come
hold
back.
on to it. I have to hold on to it. But yes, a TV drive would be one thing if you wanted people to get them and then didn't get triggered. So I'll wait. Okay.
Now I'm thinking about it, maybe they just didn't want the TV just because of the you think maybe because of the cost for
Electric bill?
Yeah, for that could be. I don't know. I'll kind of figure out and try to figure. Lacey, do you have anything? We just talking while you driving. Oh, I think she's spoke.
Yeah, no, I tried to chime in a few times, but I didn't want to interrupt anyone. I really think
Oh,
you're breaking up.
Just try cutting off your video because you won't break up as much.
Fully 100%.
Lacey, you're breaking up. Frank said try to cut off your video and see if we can hear you, but safely.
All right, so I was saying that I think that this goes back to prove the reasons that we were hesitant to be 100% behind these temporary type ideas, because like I always say, like it looks great when a city, because it happens, the same thing is happening in Concord and in Antioch. They say, oh, the city's doing great things because they have all these people up in the motel, but then they just dump them there and they have no wraparound services, or they say that they have wraparound services, but they're not nearly sufficient enough for even a person to survive, let alone be able to find any kind of exit plan or next steps for permanent housing for when their time there expires. And I just think it's ironic that cities like Antioch and Concord are so proud of themselves about getting people into these programs and then just completely forgetting about them, because we are the people that are going out and making sure that they're fed. And in Concord, no, even if we wanted to, we couldn't go and feed a massive amount of people or bring, dinner or a meal for everybody because we're not allowed on the premises. So I'm just wondering, what is there what is their plan here? I'm hoping that when the majority of people go over to Delta Landing, it'll be better, but then they're just gonna backfill these rooms at these motels with other people that are waiting to get into Delta Landing. And are those people gonna be starving too? Like, there has to be some kind of compromise here with these types of programs, because I'm sorry, like, if you're, you know, someone from the city and you're saying, oh, look at us, we're getting people into the motel, but then you're letting them starve, like, nobody's hearing about that part. They're
Yeah.
only seeing in the news like, oh, well, you know, someone can just get into the motel for free and then they're fine. And it's like, what people don't realize is what happens after that. And then who is helping these people find any kind of exit plan or any kind of next steps? Are there caseworkers going out and helping them, you know, apply to get on wait lists, which are closed right now? Are they helping them try to get housing vouchers? Are they helping them try to find a program that fits their needs? I'm pretty sure that's not happening. So, you know, these are just, again, we always say, like, these types of programs are slapping a band-aid, and yes, they're getting people off of the street, but, you know, not in every case is that the best thing if they're not being taken care of while they're there. Because if they don't have a car, or, you know, they don't have food stamps or something like that, and the wraparound services are not sufficient, I guarantee those people have learned how to, you know, provide for themselves better on this, out on the street, than locked.
Right. Lacey, you cut off at the, are you there? Okay, well, I agree. And Lacey, you missed a little bit of it earlier when we were discussing it, but yeah, it looks like we kind of went into, you know, just my concerns as well with, as far as the wraparound services and what that looks like. Frank, do you still have is your hand up?
Yeah, I put my hand back up.
Okay.
So I agree with what Lacey was saying about how they slap these things together. They're not fully prepared. And that's why we're here. And I think that's where you come in, Nicole, other activists, Lacey, to point out, like, hey, this is what's happening. And then it's up to us to hold them accountable. Whether they're doing their best, they're doing what they can, or they're just doing something for show. They have this happening. You know, what can we do to, one, hold them accountable, two, provide where they're lacking, and three, make sure people know that we want to hold them accountable and we are providing ourselves to fill the gaps. And through the media, I can get us back on. I can do some interviews with Kenny. You know, we could try to put out a press release, do something to get Channel 2 and everybody out there and present these issues, why we love this program, why we hate it,
Yeah.
and what we're doing. So I think, so that's where I think I got three things. So that's one of them. Us, the activists, the community, holding the elected officials accountable for quote unquote Band-Aid solutions, whatever you think of the program's happening. They are raising their fist saying that they did something. We could point out the pros and cons and why we have to step in and fill the gaps and put the pressure on them through the media, through other city council meetings, stuff like that.
I agree.
Two things is, my second thing is, I heard, I'm just becoming familiar. This is my first new meeting with you guys. And so I heard Lacey say that they need to get permission. We can't go into some of the places. So of course,
Well,
we
let me
have to.
just really quick, just a really quick update, because the one who I just talked to before the meeting said that there is an organization that did come and they did let them through the gate, and they let them park in the front, and they did let people go down there and serve. So that was just a quick update I got before the
Good.
meeting.
So that's what I'm talking about. Get permission to go in there. We got to just, once we point out the inequities and the, I don't want to call them failures, but the lacking components of their plans, you know, and that some people will be willing to help fill in, we need to get permission and clearance to go in there. So I think that's just a procedural step, unless they really tried to block you out. or something like that. But otherwise, you just heard from you that someone got in there and got to serve food. I'm thinking of another guy, Archie. He's a disabled vet, and he does events for veterans and homeless veterans. He just acquired the old Lee's snack bar by the high school.
Did he?
Yeah, so if you look when you go
That's
by
off
it again,
topic, but I love that place.
yeah. Well, the reason I mention it is because he does large meals for certain groups or organizations. And if we could donate or gather the money to get the raw materials, he's capable of making hundreds of meals at one time with his big smoker. So he would do a feast one day. I can almost guarantee it. And we could promote his place when he opens up pretty soon at Lee's, the old Lee's snack bar, which if you go by, you'll see it's got a new coat of paint.
Oh.
So that's another one. So this is my third thing would be, besides getting the restaurants or the local businesses to commit to a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever they could do. Maybe you could have like special guest days, or dare I even say a celebration or party day, because we're not the only ones that get to enjoy life out here with a house. I've heard you say this numerous times, Nicole, that they deserve to have a good time and to be able to enjoy themselves. So maybe there could be a certain day a month, or whenever you can arrange it, doesn't have to be on a regular basis, but a special guest like Archie to come in and do his, he calls it S&Q, which is his special combination of Louisiana cooking and smoked and barbecue. Anyways, you could have a special guest come in and prepare a certain meal, or bring in a certain meal if they prepare it wherever. Archie, he would probably like to prepare it on the spot or at home. He does both. Anyways, that's beyond the point. So a special guest day, maybe a party, maybe a celebration, maybe not. Maybe just the guy comes in and makes the food. Well, anyways, so that would just be another way to supplement the businesses, the local organizations, would be to have this special day where somebody from the community, such as Archie or somebody else, agrees to come in under their conditions and terms. Like I said, Archie is usually down to help out, but he can't always afford to purchase all the meat.
Right.
He's mainly a meat guy, but he also does coleslaw and greens and other vegetables. So if you can muster up the money to do the raw materials, a lot of the times he's willing to donate his time to
Yeah.
cook it and serve it, and he's of course all certified kitchen, and could serve, knows how to serve food legally according to the health department.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Frank, for that, because that's a great idea. And I love that idea. And I'm looking forward to going to taste this food myself. So yeah, so we'll definitely look into that. We are going to go ahead and move on just really quickly. I think we got about maybe 5-10 more minutes before we get into closing. We just want to touch a little bit on one of the reasons, Frank, why I know I wanted to invite you and Mike, and we talked about some of the different issues and negative how businesses have been affected. And we did reach out and was asking local business owners and businesses how homelessness affected their businesses. I'm just going to read off just a few of these things right here from what some of the responses were. Everywhere they go, they leave a huge mess, drug needles and poop on the ground. That was one. Another said, I work for a business near an encampment, have had them break in almost daily for the last 2 or 3 years, stuff stolen, stuff broken, fire started, seen them fight over drugs, crashing their vehicles into each other, even running each other over. I see evidence of them trying to break into my shop where I have a ridiculous amount invested into tooling just to be able to do my job. We've watched recordings of them fist fighting our plants, them taking apart our electrical outlets and getting shocked, dragging heavy items for hours to get them out of our yard, only to give up 1,000 feet from where they stole it. More than anything, it's the employees that are infected, cars stolen, things stolen out of cars, etc. The last one I have here is to start by having the homeless clean up all their trash that's covering the city. I bet that would do a ton for local businesses. So yeah, this has been a big issue around the whole city, and when it comes to business owners. And to me personally, I don't really have the answers for it. I know just a couple things that I have in mind and that I've expressed even to the city is like having something like an ambassador type of program where, the city could even pay, or we can have, business owners, whoever want to, just have maybe a homeless person or a group of homeless people get paid for, keeping businesses clean and these areas clean, and kind of just monitoring their business, making sure that, nothing's going on. I mean, they're around there anyway. So that was just one of the things that I had in mind. And of course, I'm all for having, dumpsters and things like that, porta potties. And I mean, you have nowhere to go to the bathroom and you have a doorway right there. I mean, I can see why someone would just be like, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom here. I need some privacy. And although it's, not necessarily the right thing to do, it is, I can see how it could be difficult if you don't have a restroom. So anyone else have anything on that?
I agree. Like, if you can't, a bathroom should be a human right. There should be public bathrooms, and something that we all have to do. It's just like breathing air. We gotta go. So I think that it shouldn't be so, I don't know, like taboo to talk about. Like, people have to go to the bathroom, and we need to have safe areas for people to be able to go to, no matter the living situation, because it's like a health hazard for everybody and like the local businesses. And yeah, nobody wants to walk out to poop feces, but
Right.
so it needs to be a city issue.
Right. I agree. And just really quick, I just wanted to throw in there, I think when I was saying, also with just it being complicated is just because, there's a lot of business owners that I have talked to, like, but we, as positive and as much as we love our unhoused friends on the streets, we have bad apples out there that they don't give a damn about your business. They don't give a damn about your property. They, can be really destructive. And like even this commenter saying breaking into vehicles and breaking into, their businesses and things like that. I mean, it really is a struggle for these business owners with some of our unhoused folks on the streets. So that's an issue too that I don't think we really talk too much, and that's another reason why I wanted to bring this topic on here tonight too, because we can't all sugarcoat everything. You know what I'm saying? We have people out there that are just making it really hard for hardworking people that have businesses, and so that's just another reason why I wanted to bring this up. But it's complicated. I really don't have all the answers. Anyone else?
More of a
Personally-
reason. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, Lisa, you go.
Personally, I think that business owners get so many platforms already to air out these grievances with the unhoused. The city prioritizes the needs and the wants of business owners over anything else. On social media, anything posted, positive or negative, about the unhoused is absolutely dominated by support for businesses or concern for businesses. And number one, I feel like a lot of things get blamed on the unhoused that aren't necessarily the unhoused all the time. Not to say that there aren't unhoused people that, might do some of those things, but things like break-ins, car break-ins, vandalism, garbage, dumping. So many times I've seen that this is not actually the unhoused people in the area, but rather it's easy for them to get blamed. But, of course there are, situations where you know, that's what happens when there's a particular area that people are gathered in. But I think where the disconnect is business owners will complain about, you know, oh, all these unhoused people are, you know, in this area and there's, you know, feces or there's garbage or whatever, but they're not contributing or even brainstorming any alternate solutions for where can these people use the restroom, or how could I build a relationship with these people, or, you know, how can I help this situation? I don't know if all you guys are familiar, but LaDonna used to own a deli in Wally Plaza, and she had a fantastic relationship with the unhoused people in that area, you know, and the business owners in the surrounding area resented that because she never had any issues with them. She, you know, because she made an effort to brainstorm solutions with them, to help them, to connect with them, to treat them like people. And so I think that so often people are just complaining without trying to think of any solutions, where I feel like if all the business owners in Antioch spent as much effort as they do complaining, getting together and saying, hey, like advocates, or hey, city, how can we help? Or hey, you know, person who's outside of my business, how could I possibly help? You know, I think that there would be a big difference. And I'm not saying that they don't have a right to, you know, want to protect their business or the area surrounding their business, because they absolutely do. I just think that at least the reason that I personally don't usually table this conversation is because it already happens everywhere else. You know, it's already the top thing that people want to discuss when it comes to the unhoused. It's the first thing out of people's mouth. Well, the businesses, that's why they excuse disgusting actions by the city or the police department or code enforcement by saying, well, you have to think of the businesses. And so, you know, yes, it's an issue, but it's a well-discussed issue, in my opinion. So I feel like the solutions that we all are working towards are solutions for business owners as well. So hopefully they're supportive of those. Hopefully they get on board and find ways to contribute to those, so that, because the only way to solve that problem is to help people have a place to use the restroom or have a place to sleep at night other than in front of your business. So that's just kind of my take on it.
That's such a good point. Just everything. I'm so happy you explained all that. And I can kind of, not to make it about me, but like relate with teaching. You know, you have a bunch of students that are really hard, and you could just get mad about it and complain about it, or you could try to find solutions with them and get to know them, you know, and be like, hey, how can we help you? And like have a, you know, work on it together. And like with the people who just want to complain about it, but they don't think of like, well, why is that happening? It doesn't, yeah, it just feeds more negativity, and there's no solution, and it just makes their problems worse. So that was really great. Thanks for saying all that.
I just wanted to just hop in really fast and just say, just to respond to you, Lacey. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but in all honesty, you know, just talking to some of these business owners, I mean, I can understand a lot of them were saying like, this is my business, and it's really not, it shouldn't be up to me to try to figure all this other stuff out. Now, it would be great, and I think that's the reason why advocates and community members, and we need to try to come together to talk to the business owners and get them involved in the conversation. But in all honesty, I mean, I understand what you mean by the city and them supporting business owners, and we have the new businesses that are coming, spending thousands and thousands of dollars coming here. But what about the small business owners that are all on A Street, that have homeless people all around their businesses? I mean, we have to think about them too. And again, I just think that I think it's bigger than that. And I have to defend the business owners, especially the ones that have small businesses that are just trying to make it with their families, that that even the guy at the old straw hat on Summersville, he had to move to Brentwood and was telling me, yeah, I had to move. You know, there was garbage and the city didn't want to do anything. And then they start trying to find me. But yet, you know, I couldn't do anything about the homeless problem that was there. People just kept coming. And so I have to take, I mean, I'm listening to both sides, but when you have people breaking into your businesses, like the guy on 8th Street that has my husband goes to see him for the car. I don't know if it's a mechanic shop or whatever right there. That's saying they're, you know, I feel for them, but they're always breaking into my business. You know, you got to think about them too. So I
think
understand
what
where you're coming from, but at the same time, it's like we got to hold people responsible. Just like you said, Mariah, with kids, you got some kids that's just off the hook, and you got some homeless folks that's just off the hook that are disrespectful and do not care about business owners or any of that. So I really think it's up to us, and it's really important for us to try to reach out to these business owners, and to try to work together and try to figure out.
Yeah, and I think combining the two, what you both are saying, like with Lazy, she's, you know, business owners, if they can, you know, advocate, push also, like, this is why we need a safe parking lot, this is why we need a bathroom, this is what,
and help them to push
and collaborate. Yeah, like
right,
make it
exactly.
like if advocates could try to like mend the relationship and be like, we validate these issues, it sucks, and like, how can you help us by advocating for these safe resources?
Yep. I agree.
Would anyone mind? I am so sorry, I have homework to do.
Oh, no,
do tonight. So
we
I'm
love
just gonna.
you, Mariah. We
Okay,
love
good night,
you.
everyone.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.
Frank,
Bye, Franklin. Bye, Lacey.
Bye. Good to see you again.
You too. Bye.
Frank, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I guess it sounds like we're wrapping up. So I just had some thoughts on the last part that we were talking about businesses, the community. Briefly, just for the recording and for the record, for people that may listen to this later, yes, I have an office at a building downtown Antioch, and our building manager, who's a little old lady and doesn't like to get earthly, as she says, has to deal with problems that come along with having our unhoused brothers and sisters fending for themselves on the streets, including the poo, the pee, the trash, everything that comes along with the average complaint. And what happened to us this most recently when I called in to the city council meeting was that there was a woman, I never had met her because I haven't been going to the building since COVID, living in the back between the old police department on 10th Street and the fire department that's still there. And she was living back there for a few days, and the fire department called the police or whoever they call, code enforcement, because of the bathroom problem. And they made a big deal about it. And then Linderman, everyone's favorite, came to take care of the situation and took her out and had all her stuff confiscated early in the morning. She had emotions, and she went and banged on the fire department and rang their bell, banged on, I don't know exactly, this is my secondhand information, but basically had an episode out front of the fire department and then took off or disappeared. Later, that area was burning, was on fire. So they put 2 and 2 together in their heads when I went there to investigate. And they were concerned that they basically told me what I just told you, and then said, and we think she lit the fire. So the irony, and what I tried to point out to the city, is that where this woman was, whether she had mental health problems or not, was trying to live and was using the bathroom wherever she could on the ground in between the police department in the back. And just for another note, that's what our building is known for, as far as it comes to dealing with the unhoused community, is that it's secluded in some places, it's dark, it becomes a bathroom, a number 2 zone, especially. So that's happening all the time. I'm shoveling them up, Betty's shoveling them up and trying to take care of it. So besides that, yes, the irony of it is that 20 feet away, maybe 30, there's 10 bathrooms in a city-owned building. There's showers. There's offices. Why couldn't she just go in there and go pee? Why couldn't she go in there and just wash up in one of the many showers? So I think the use of the building at 301 West 10th Street needs to be reevaluated. And my understanding, this ain't official or been confirmed, but I have heard that is going to happen. And I'm not sure what's going to happen to myself, who has a spot there, or Betty, who runs her spot. But we'll see. There is so much potential there. Nicole, I know you've seen the inside of the building. It's the old police department. There's individual showers. There's, hey, party time, group showers. No, I'm just kidding. But there's group showers like the old gymnasium when you're a kid and you have to shower with your buddies. Or if some people maybe ever been to jail, it's kind of like that. So you gather around a shower and it's got, what I'm saying, spurts on you all directions. So something can be done, whether it's letting one person into the group shower at a time and having someone monitor outside. I think a real audit of the expenses needs to be done on how much the cleanups are, how much the police are dealing with homeless issues. That counts. Every man or woman hour that an officer spends dealing with an unhoused person should go on a record. Every time the city spends $1, okay, let's audit that. And then let's see how much it would cost to clear out all the old junk that's back in that room and open that shower and put a guy there that's from a security company to monitor that space and make it a place where people can use the bathroom and the shower. Okay.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's a great example of, you're someone who works in a building that is experiencing complications because of this issue, but you're saying, hey, here's a possible solution. Why isn't this available to them? And that's just exactly what I'm talking about. Because I'm not, like discrediting your experience and your frustrations. I'm saying that a lot of people don't have that proactive mindset. They just want to call the police and be like, get this person out of here. And
Right.
like we were saying about the audits, people are like, oh, we don't want to spend our tax dollars, or, we spend enough tax dollars. You do. You already do spend an insane amount of tax dollars. And if you listen to the city council meetings, the last meeting, it was said how much the city, just the city, not the water district, not the railroad police, not PG&E, not anybody else, just the city has significantly ramped up their sweeps of people in the last 6 months or so. That is so expensive. And how many people do you see on social media saying the unhoused problem is just getting worse? It's getting worse and worse. So obviously them ramping up their sweeps is not helping anything. It's simply costing us more money. And so it's like every time we want to bring up something like, oh, why can't we open the community center? I feel like a lot of people would immediately be like, well, who's going to pay for that security guard? You're already paying that money to move that woman around and all the other people around to every other street corner every other day, and it's not doing anything. So why not spend the money, probably less money, on a more efficient and effective
Proactive measure.
Yeah.
All right. And what I wanted to continue to say was also every city building, the police department, the animal shelter, the fire department, city hall, my building, should all be open to bathroom use during the day, during hours of operation. Okay, with some rules, right? It's not free reign. You're going to go in there, everyone's going to take a bird bath every day and be in there for a half hour. There's got to be some guidelines. And then maybe we can convince friendly businesses to have a homeless friendly sign, or excuse me, an unhoused welcome sign. I know we're working on our terminology. Sometimes when I get going, it's hard to stop. For their business, you are welcome here to come in and use the bathroom and do things, with these stipulations that we want to put out to the community. We're all tied to the homeless, the unhoused community. we can let them know, hey, we're working on this. If someone displays the "you're welcome here" sign, you had to respect it, what they're asking. Okay, so that's another one of my ideas before I forget. And then so one of the thing was that we were talking about before she left was, I always blank on her name, the one that just checked out. Someone remind me. Mariah. Okay. So, and I think Lacey talked about it as well, or maybe Lacey's the one who mentioned this, but people doing the work. So there's work out there to be done. People could be cleaning up. Everyone knows John out there sweeping the corners with his shirt or his broom, right? Okay, some people are more apt to be able to do work than not. And if you gave someone a job to do and tried to actually pay them, there'd be all this fight about city wages for these particular folks. Anyways, these are unconventional times where we need unconventional measures. So if you wanted to get a group of people that were willing to work with a city guy to go around and clean up the city, we should be able to do that.
Right.
But you know how people get power hungry and weird when they're in control of people they think they're superior to. So you might need like an advocate of one of us there to help liaison and see how it goes, because this is a compassionate working with and being patient type of thing, not an overwhelming force. Clean that shit up, fool. I told you, you stinky bastard. You know, we ain't gonna win none of that bullshit.
Right.
Another thing was, okay, food, clothes, and shelter are the basic survival needs, and everyone knows that. And the United Nations made these a human rights issue. Now, you know, these are just some other thoughts I had while she was talking, but people need to be bold, including our elected officials, in these times when there's this problem, that not problem, but this epidemic of homelessness, this pandemic. It's everywhere. So we need our elected officials. I know some of us are off the bandwagon, or you know, I'm making a joke. So I saw your bandwagon post, but we need to pressure our elected officials to be bold. You could think of the T-Man, Orange Man bad. Orange Man was bold, and he fought for his things and did bold measures as the president, Trumper. So I think if we had some elected officials that could be bold, why couldn't they be like, hey, Antioch is a homeless emergency, right? Or an unhoused emergency. We need to declare an emergency and maybe
It's
see if we can
already
get some
been
other.
declared an emergency. It's
All
already
right, so he
been
needs to
declared.
enact some powers, you know, and see what he can do.
Right. Well, me, I think all of them, and I think we have all, including you, and I think everyone, you know, the advocates, nonprofit, we've all been giving them ideas and telling them different things that they could be doing. And I just honestly, you know, just to comment from off of what you just said, I just wish that they all would step up and just really just do the right thing for our folks on the street. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean,
And I think that's where we come in as
bathrooms,
activists, to organize and put the pressure on them again. And I think the camp out in the parking lot would help. And then my last couple of things before I know we're about to sign out was someone was talking about, it might have been Lacey or the why can't I remember her name? Say it one more time so I can try to stick
Mariah.
it.
Just think of Mariah Carey. That's
Oh, thanks for helping me. All right, so Mariah or Lacey talked about the businesses being upset and the government can't do it all. And I think that we have to remember that the times, like I mentioned already twice, this will be my third time, are unprecedented, especially with what's happening in Antioch and the evictions. I don't know if any of you listened to that story that was posted about the evictions with Tamisha and the other folks around town, Francisco and everybody. Get ready for more unhoused. And I don't think that we can expect the city, state, or the county to take care of it all. And I think it comes with the individualism that we're born into as part of the United States of America, which imbues individualism. You know, we all have our house, our fence, our car, and that's how we will step over a homeless person into the pizza place to get our slice of pizza. And it goes back to a long history of Native Americans and stuff that I've read about the individualism. And there's a quote by a guy I can't remember right now, but they needed to make the Indian who was living in a community way to say I instead of we, and mine instead of ours. And they did that and forced that upon them until, you know, most of us have assimilated and are living, you know, in our own little cubicles, our gray boxes with our, you know, steel utensils. Anyways, I'm kind of going off on my long rant about that, but we have been imbued with individualism. And I think the businesses that expect and are crying the worst about the government's not taking care of it all, we got to try to remember that none of us could do it alone. None of us. And even if you believe that mayor is trying or not trying, and whatever he's doing is helping or not helping, everybody needs to pitch in for the solution, because none of us could do it alone. And I think when we're alone, we could see what happens to some of us. We all know people that are left that just wouldn't make it without help. So I think we need to try to remember folks, remind folks of that, whether it's the business, the city council, ourselves, on many occasions as well, that no one could really do it alone. And if we're expecting the city council to take care of the homeless problem in downtown Antioch and the rest of the town, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. They're gonna have to play a part, and the community has to play a part. So I think figuring out what we could do, some of the ideas I thought of tonight, thanks to you all, was the "You're welcome here" sign for businesses, making it mandatory. City council pass the whatever it has to be, resolution, proclamation, whatever the hell, that all city buildings and fire departments, police stations welcome people in to use the bathroom under these certain conditions, that they're expected just to use the bathroom and not do a big old thing about it, because we'll have another place for you to do a big old thing, to take a shower and to take care of yourself. So that'd be 301 West 10th Street. Just kidding. I'm getting fired up now about it, but those are my ideas I wrote down while we were talking. I feel good about the, like, "You're welcome here" downtown business sign, and see what we could do, you know, see what people would be willing
I
to
like
do.
that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like that.
make some rules, you know, and then us as the advocates be like, "Hey, we got these 3 places right here. They're going to let you in to use the bathroom and to maybe splash some water on your face.
Right.
Don't go in there and take a half-hour shower and totally plug up the toilet and throw your stuff all over the place."
Right.
You know, you got to abide by some rules here, and these guys are willing to let you do it, you know, and see if we can make something happen that way. Because
Right.
I seen when we did the BLM protest going down 2nd Street, and who came out and handed out water to people, and who like put the wood up. You know what I'm saying? There's people out there that might be willing to do it
Mhm.
if we're working as advocates as the middle. I know you guys have already been out there doing a lot, and you know, I'm just an idea in the wind coming in to help, but it doesn't always work that way, because it's not always pretty, and there's always something that, you know, will mess up the works. But those are ideas I thought of tonight, you know, to
No,
help you all.
I think that's a great point, Frank. And before, you know, we kind of get off the subject of kind of something similar, literally right before I logged onto the meeting, on Instagram, the city of Antioch, I saw posted a picture, and it was a before and after of cleaning up blight, and it was literally just someone's tent. It was someone's tent, and then a second picture of the tent gone, and it was like bragging about like the city of Antioch doing its job cleaning up the blight. And I would really love for us all to just hop in the comments of that picture and just be like, what was the purpose of like bragging about moving this person's tent? If it was like a bunch of garbage or like something like that, that would have been one thing. But if you just go look at it, and then whatever you want to say that, because I'm gonna hop on there and just be like, the audacity of bragging about moving this person's tent, like, it disturbed me, honestly.
Where was that post
You
at?
said that was the city of Antioch page or Barbanica?
The city of Antioch Instagram page.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to take a look at that, because I know Barbanica does a lot of, that's what it reminded me of, his page. I'll check. I want to check that out, Lacey. But thank you so much, Frank. We're going to go into closing, but thank you. I think one of the things that, well, a lot of what you said stood out for me, but one of the things I think really stood out for me, just with you just talking, is that, like, I really, we are really, we get on the city, but we really do, but and say a lot of the and advocate for different things that they could be doing. But I think you are right, and I say that too. I think it's not just going to be the city who's going to be able to change all this stuff. Like, we really need to work together, and I think that's what we've kind of been. I know I say it on my Facebook page a lot, like, the community needs to get together, the business owners. I think that's why I like to bring up these different topics, although it could, uncomfortable or not really knowing, but just trying to brainstorm things, because this is really going to take all of us. It's going to take more than the city, the state funding, money, there needs to be volunteers. There needs to be people, like you said, that are compassionate and that have, love for our brothers and sisters out there on the streets too. So thank you. And thank you for just joining us tonight. And you too, Lacey. So I'm just going to go into closing a little bit. Just a quick update. Our friend Richard, who many called Rich, downtown by Amtrak, or Guitar Rich, many folks call him. He did pass away last night. I have been in contact with his family, and they were kind, and I was just so grateful that they reached out to me, and I went to the hospital with them yesterday and was able to say goodbye to him. Coincidentally, I saw him last Wednesday when we had our outreach, and we took a picture together, and we talked, and so it's been a sad few days, but the family is going to have a GoFundMe up, and I definitely will attach that onto the description of the video, so that we can kind of get them some of the help and assistance with whatever they need, the funding for expenses. So yeah, and with that, it looks like that was my only last update. And just thank you guys again for participating in this meeting. I think make sure I'll thank Mariah too. And Frank, come back anytime. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Sorry about Guitar Rich. I know a lot of people know him. I even know of him. And let me know if you're going to do a memorial. I'll bring the speaker. And I would just encourage people. I hope I'm not getting the name wrong, but I believe it's Hooverville. Look up the history of Hooverville, and let's get back in the parking lot. Lacey, we spent some time in the parking lot of the city hall. I think an encampment would be great there for to nail it home. And yeah. The Hoovervilles were pretty bold and big. It spread across the country, and they even did one when Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor, and they called them Arnieville. And they were on the medians in Berkeley, and I went and interviewed people at the Arnieville in Berkeley. So I believe it's Hooverville for historic reference. So I advise people to look up Hooverville, and let's get one going and see if we can get some change. Otherwise, I provided other ideas that came to me tonight, not as direct action related, but proactive measures I feel like you guys helped me think of, such as the business friendly places that would let people in, stuff like that. And all the city buildings around town, fire department, police department, my building, any other places. Maybe we could make a criteria. If you are this, then people can come in and go pee. So maybe we could get the city to do something like that and say, hey, you got to go to the bathroom. The fire department's right there. go in and
Yeah,
go deep.
I appreciate your ideas, Frank. And I just wanted to add really fast. I know that a lot of people also knew Coral. She was usually in an RV around in and around the downtown area, and she also recently passed away. And I know that hit hard for a lot of folks as well. And so I just I know that there are some people that might not have gotten that news, or that might not have reached them. And so I just wanted to kind of honor her here as well, because she was just kind of known as kind of just a safe haven for a lot of people on the streets, and a lot of folks that are unhoused in Antioch knew her, went to her for advice and help for a lot of things. And that was really sad for me to hear about. So yeah, it's been a rough few months for sure.
Definitely.
So sorry,
Okay.
another one, man. I can't believe it. So sorry, Lacey.
Yeah, it's just.
Well, let me know if you need the speaker or something. You know, I'm
Yeah,
down to.
I was talking to some folks, actually I was talking to Kenny, and he was saying that he wanted to do have a visual of some sort for Rich downtown, and I did let him know that I will reach out to the family and just see how they felt about it first. And then, because they do, you know, they were his friends and family on the streets, so definitely want to talk to the family and see how they feel about it. But we will definitely attach that GoFundMe link in the description. Okay, so to be a part of the discussion in our Homeless Coalition meetings, please email us at AntiochHomelessCoalition@gmail.com to receive a participation form. And thank you all. It's time for you girls to go eat. Lacey, you over there eating now. Look at you sneaking.
I beat you to it.
All right, you guys have a great night. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for inviting me.
Of course.
All right, good night.
Bye.
Good night, Lacey.